recording here. We got a few people who are out today, so we'll record that for the people who want to watch later on. Y va a llover. Wow, it's gonna rain. Va a llover. Hoy. A las 3, a las 5, más o menos.
Y más viendo.
Sí. Y Nora, I need to let you know, we're doing a Dixie Mine hike, Nick and I and maybe Gail, tomorrow, 1 o'clock, Dixie Mine, if you're free.
I've got a bike guest in this week, so probably not.
Oh, okay.
Fortunately.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm off the bike tomorrow because, see, I'm on the dirt and too much rain on the trail does not work with mountain biking, but yeah, road biking, that won't affect you anymore. It'll be dry there.
Yeah. Well, thanks for letting me know. I'd like to go again.
Yeah. Okay. Bien. Fantástico. Okay. Vamos
What
a
is
ver,
the word for hike as opposed to walk?
caminata.
Oh, okay.
Caminata. Bien. I want to start off seeing if you have any questions about the 2 videos. I guess I'll start with the Frida one. Were there any questions you had? Because I gave you 2 videos for listening for this week. One was the sad ending of Frida video, and the second one was totally unrelated, but actually much more of a natural relating an event. You know, I went to Chichen Itza, and again, a lot of mixing of imperfect and preterite. So I wanted to know if you had any questions about those videos or anything that you heard in there or no.
I must be asleep at the wheel because the second one that you just showed us there, I don't recall seeing it.
Oh,
I don't either.
did I not? Oh, did I not send that one? Oh, no. You know, actually, this is probably a good one to show you guys for an opener. This is good then. Hang on. Moment.
Okay, I'm not asleep at the wheel then.
No, you're not asleep at the wheel. Marcos, you're like never asleep at the wheel. You always know what's going on. I'm more asleep at the wheel than you are, just because wow, I've always got happening about 4 things going on at the same time. So yeah,
También una pregunta in the check box.
Oh, sí.
Un Duolingo.
Oh, okay.
Hasta que electricista no termine su trabajo, nadie use los estufas de la casa.
Okay.
What is
Sí.
the no? What is the no? I don't understand the no in there.
This is the one that you've got on the chat box,
On the
right?
chat box.
Okay, so if you haven't got your chat box up, you want to take a look at that so you know what we're looking at. Hasta que el electricista no termine su trabajo, nadie use los enchufes de la casa. Until the electrician doesn't finish the work.
Yes.
Nobody use the plugs. Yeah. Till he's done. There's your answer. We would say till he's done.
Yeah.
This one is a little clumsy.
Good, because it was very close.
But you know what? On occasion people present some that's a little, that's not one of the more elegant ones.
Does
I
Nadi have
simply-
to have a no?
Yeah, I would have simply excluded the no.
Hasta que el electricista termine. That's a little bit clumsy. So I would say don't worry about it.
Okay, that's fine.
There, Duolingo is one of those things of, there are just some things they present that once in a while it pulls up an oddball thing. And that I would say is one of them. And I've been seeing some recent things on video suggestions for Spanish students about, a lot of people are touting Babbel now, but Babbel you definitely have to pay for. And yeah, it depends on if you really want to pay for Babbel. If you want to pay for Babbel, that's fine. Apparently though, Babbel has more grammar explanations built in than, so there's a thing, and that's why you're paying.
See,
It's the way it goes. See? Okay.
you're my grammar explanation.
See, así es. So it is. So it is. So, okay. Otra pregunta. Any other leftover hangnail question? Hangnail question from any other work or any other? No.
Well, you had mentioned in the note with the stuff for us to work on, that there was an error in that video of preterite versus imperfecto, and I just want to make sure that it's the same error I thought I saw.
Yeah, okay, you want to know which one was the error?
Yeah, well, I think
The
I know
error-
which one, but I don't remember the number, but
I'll pull that up real quickly. It was pretty glaring.
yeah,
Yeah, it was a glaring error, and I think it was and actually I'm kind of surprised they didn't take it down, but I think it's sort of problematic to take down YouTube stuff and then correct it and put it back up. That's kind of a difficult process. So they tell me. ¿Dónde está? Momentito. Let me take a quick look. I've got to find the right thing. Okay. Found it. I'm going to put it up. Oh. Okay. Boy. Gotta move it to the right thing here. Okay. Momentito. I've got to go to the quiz segment and find it. And this is only going to take me a little bit of time. Oh, aquí está. Here it is. So here is the glaring error. That is actually pretty bad, but I don't think the lady who made the video did this error. I think it is whoever processed. I think they have the separate people processing the video. So here is the error.
B. Iba al supermercado el lunes porque había descuentos.
Okay. On Monday, there were discounts at the supermarket and you went there. So here's how you say it. It's either A or B. On Monday, there were discounts and we're only talking about on Monday, right?
Mhm.
So if you have to look at, fui al supermercado el lunes or iba al supermercado el lunes, which one do you pick for on Monday, there were discounts?
hey,
Oui.
On Monday, there were, and we're only talking about one Monday, a particular Monday. Okay, so here's what happened with, oh, they crossed out the right answer.
See,
This is not the correct way to say on Monday, that one Monday, there were discounts. So what they really should have X'd out was the B. This was the glaring error because iba al supermercado. If I'm going to say iba al supermercado, I have to change it to los lunes. That would be okay.
I used
Iba
to
al
go-
supermercado los lunes, because then it would mean I used to go to the supermarket on Mondays because every single Monday I went. Okay, so actually they X'd out the correct item and they left the wrong one up.
Mhm.
And the following one has the exact same prompts, but look at what happens
Mercado los lunes porque había
if you change the idea to if you went every Monday.
descuentos.
And it's Eva.
That's A.
And yeah, so this was fine because they changed it to iba al supermercado los lunes. So they've got an error in there. I didn't even check. I should check in their comments and put a comment in. Ooh, you need to fix this because that's a pretty bad error. But I think it was made by the person who processed the video. So there you go. Because I can't see her as a native speaker ever making an error like that. I mean, that's just like,
Well, I was gonna say, I was gonna ask if you could leave that up just for a second. I had a
oh,
question.
sí, claro. Okay. Aquí vamos. Here we go. Okay.
Yeah, so as it turns out, of course, today is the first Wednesday of the month, which means that as in every first Wednesday, but not every Wednesday, every first Wednesday is senior day at pretty much all the supermarkets locally.
Eso es, sí.
I'm trying to think of how we would modify that to not los lunes, but los how would you like los primera lunes? Cada mes, how would we modify that?
Es buena pregunta, sí, porque aquí en la zona en Phoenix y en todos los, en las afueras, in the suburbs, en las afueras, sí. Tenemos este hábito, esta costumbre de que el primer miércoles del mes. Y la costumbre es, hay descuentos, siempre hay descuentos en el supermercado el primer miércoles de cada mes. So the way you'd have to alter that, if you wanted to say, I used to go the first Wednesday of every month, yeah, we could tweak that by saying iba al super o iba al supermercado. I would stick in a siempre iba al supermercado el primer miércoles de cada mes. We have to tweak it in a slightly different way. Or you could just say iba al supermercado el primer miércoles de cada mes. De cada mes fits in the idea of every month.
Using cada is good, is as good as, or it shows that it's more than one time, as opposed to using los.
Exacto, sí. Because I can't really put in los miércoles. If I put in los miércoles, it means every Wednesday. So the only way I can really say every first Wednesday, I have to take out the los miércoles because that is a blanket. Yeah, it's a blanket time marker. And this isn't blanket. It's every first Wednesday. So iba al supermercado el primer miércoles de cada mes, the first Wednesday of every month.
That
We have
makes sense. I just want to ask one little follow-up on that. So like in English, we would quite reasonably say, I'd go to the supermarket the first Wednesdays, the first Wednesdays.
El primer, sí.
But using los primeros,
Oh,
doesn't
can
work.
you say los primeros miércoles de? No, that would not, no suena, suena raro. That sounds a little strange to them. It would be el primer, yeah. No, but your question is a logical one. But we can't just make los primeros miércoles. I don't think, that would not, yeah. Iba el primer miércoles de cada mes. Boom.
Could you discuss
primer versus primero?
Sí.
Seems like sometimes it's primero, but is it, if it comes after?
Yes, so there's a little rule for that and it's easy.
Oh, I like that. Easy.
It's an easy thing to show. If I get my share screen to come up, it's even easier to show. Okay. All right. Can you see my blank screen, folks? See?
Sí.
Oh, no. Okay. Vale. Bien. Okay. Primero is one of a handful of words. So let's get the words that are like primero, because it's helpful to know. Ooh, also to extent this one. Okay. Bien. Bueno, okay. Anytime one of these words is immediately in front of a masculine singular noun, we cut off the O.
Oh, yeah.
It's just part of that family. So, okay. But there are odd ways you may see that fiddled around. So, okay. El primer mes del año. Okay. El tercer hombre en la fila. The third man in line. Okay. El buen chico recibe un premio. The good boy gets a prize. Okay. So if I've got buen chico, primer mes, tercer hombre, we cut off the O. They're just certain words that do that. Actually, even this word, uno, falls into that group because, yeah, un chico, un carro, un perro, sí, así es, un apartamento. Even
I have seen that
uno.
rule before. Now that you say it, you've
Even the
told us,
lonely-
I just forgot.
Yeah, even that lovely little word of uno falls into that category. But if I have anything in between, it'll go back to a longer form. So, or if I switch it to behind the noun.
So if it's the third woman, it's tercera.
Yeah,
Tercera?
right. So that rule flies out the window. That rule of cut off the last vowel flies out the window once we have a feminine form.
Okay.
I can't do that with the feminine form. So, and with these, with the word first and third, those, because they're quantity words, they always have to be in front of the noun. So it's not like I can switch primero to behind mes. I can't say el mes primero because that just sounds, I mean, somebody be like, what?
Okay.
And a word that talks about quantity or order like that always comes in front of the noun. It'll never follow. Okay. And so, you guys know that, el carro rojo, it's always el carro rojo. It's never el rojo carro, right? But with that word, primer, that because it does not, it does not paint a picture in your mind because it's a word talking about the order or the amount of an item, it has to be in front. So, okay. I can, if I have the word stand alone, it'll just be el primero.
Okay.
Right? So then that O comes back. If I have no noun following it, ¿qué día? Oh, por ejemplo, okay, for example, ¿cuál es la fecha? What's the date? Es el primero. It's the first. Yeah.
Thanks.
Es el primero. Es el primero, and primero, the O comes back because I'm not getting it, the buddy system of pairing it up with a noun. But if I say es el primer día de marzo, then I'm pairing up, it's a buddy system. Primero is walking along with día, so it becomes primer día. Okay. But, por ejemplo, if I've got a feminine form that cut the vowel off, goes straight out the window, can't do it anymore. So es, por ejemplo, podemos decir, es la primera semana del mes. It's the first week of the month. And primera semana, primera, I cannot shorten the feminine form. Does that make sense? See?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, okay. Vale. So, right, if I just shortened this idea of el primer día de marzo, if I just shortened it to, el primero, it's the first, then the O comes back because I don't have it paired up with a noun. That's it. Eso es. And there are only a handful of words that do that. There aren't a lot. I mean, there are a few more than what I showed you on that board, but those are probably the most common that you hear. So, okay. Vale, bueno. Okay. Una historia. Let's see how much of the story you can follow. Es buen ejercicio de escuchar. This is a good listening drill, actually. And I'm going to leave the closed captions up because it will help you follow the story. They speak pretty slowly, but still we'll probably pause it every once in a while just to make sure everybody knows what's going on with this. Es buen video. And the thing you're listening for is past tense ideas. They're going to be talking about a trip that he took, and he's going to be describing it. So he's going to have some things that do go into imperfecto, but he's going to have a fair slice of pretérito. Oh, I've got to get rid of my other screen there. Momentito. Okay. Mejor. Better. Bueno, okay.
Disfrutes el video. Hola, ¿cómo te fue en tu viaje a Chichén Itzá?
¿Cómo te fue? ¿Cómo te fue en tu viaje a Chichén Itzá? Chichén Itzá es un lugar turístico en México. Es un lugar con ruinas de las civilizaciones, de las ancianas civilizaciones de México, especialmente de Yucatán. ¿Ok? Entonces, ¿qué quiere decir cómo te fue? It's not cómo te fuiste. ¿Cómo te fue? Es como, how did it go for you? If we take out the te, ¿Cómo fue tu viaje? ¿Cómo fue tu viaje? How was your trip? Okay. But we would ask probably in English, how did that trip go for you? Oh, how things go for you on that trip? And the way to ask that is, ¿Cómo te fue en tu viaje a Chichén Itzá? Chichén Itzá is just telling where the trip was. Okay. So she's not asking, how did you get to Chichén Itzá? Right? It's not ¿Cómo te fuiste? How did you take off to? No, ¿Cómo te fue? How did it go for you? And this is a really common way for people to ask, hey, how did that go? How did that visit go to the doctor? How did that trip to your uncle's house go? How did your vacation go? ¿Cómo te fue? How did it go for you? This is a really good chunk of words when you're asking how somebody's experience went. How did it go? Okay.
¿Itzá?
Muy bien, me encantó.
Me encantó. Me encantó. He's talking about his reaction. I loved it. Me encantó. Not, I used to like going there every summer, just, oh, I loved that trip. Me encantó.
Estoy fascinado con la historia de la civilización maya. Es increíble. Bueno, también la cultura de hoy. ¿Sabías que hay más de 7 millones de personas mayas que viven en la zona de México y Centroamérica?
And sabías, did you know? He could have phrased that as sabes, do you know? But he chose to say it as sabías, did you know? But sabías is, oh, sabías es importante. This is actually more important than I thought. ¿Sabías que? Did you know that? I can't put that into pretérito and have it mean the same thing at all. Saber is one of those verbs that means something extremely different when I put it into pretérito. So if somebody asks, did you know? Oh, they're reminding you about the discounts. Hey, did you know it's the first day? Did you know it's the first day of the month? Better get out there to the store. Yeah. Okay. That kind of idea. Oh, ¿sabías que es el 1 de marzo? Hoy es día de descuentos. Okay. But I could not phrase that idea as supiste, supiste. I could not put that into pretérito and have it mean the same thing, because supiste in pretérito means, did you find out?
Mm.
And saber is one of those verbs where it's really important to know if you're just talking about mental processes in terms of, oh, do you know this or did you know that? The did you know that is going to be imperfecto, because supiste has a very specific and much more narrow meaning. Saber going into pretérito means found out, not find out right now, found out. Because it has to put saber into past and over, right? Whereas, did you know that there were 7 million people? We're talking about a mental process that just, did you ever think about this thing? And that's ongoing imperfecto. Okay.
¿Personas mayas que viven en la zona de México y Centroamérica?
Wow, no sabía.
No sabía, I didn't know. Yeah, and she would not phrase that as no supe, I didn't find out. Okay, no sabía, I didn't know.
Interesante.
Sí, hace muchos años esta civilización era muy avanzada y además tenían muchos conocimientos.
Okay, conocimientos here means more like knowledge. They had a lot of knowledge. Salud. Okay. But hay mucho imperfecto aquí. ¿Por qué? Why do we have a lot of imperfecto here? And hace muchos años is just many years ago, because they don't have the word ago. It's hace muchos años. Many, many years ago, this civilization was very advanced, and besides that, it
Had
or
a
they
lot of
Knowledge.
they had a lot of knowledge. There was a lot of knowledge in their civilization, meaning like things are more advanced. Especially, he's going to be talking about, I believe, astronomy.
En Chichen Itza,
And that's all description, right? That's description, right? That they had knowledge, they had a body of knowledge, is not something that they just suddenly got. It's, what they had for a very long time, and we don't know how long. There's no definite end point to that.
hay mucha evidencia de esto. ¿Alguna vez fuiste a Chichen Itza?
And he asks her, ¿alguna vez fuiste? ¿Alguna vez? At some time? Is alguna vez? At any time? At some time?
Did she ever go to Chichen Itza?
Yeah, did you ever go to Chichen Itza? Fuiste a Chichen Itza. Did you go? And he's asking about event there. Now, I'm going to tell you, if he were a Spaniard, which he isn't, es mexicano. If he were a Spaniard, he would probably phrase this instead of alguna vez fuiste. He'd be more likely to say alguna vez has ido. Have you gone? Has ido. They in Spain prefer for this idea to put it into present perfect. Has ido. Have you gone? But there's really no difference in the meaning between those two. Mexicans just prefer to use pretérito for this when they can. It's a more natural feel for them.
¿Una vez fuiste a Chichen Itza?
Sí, pero hace muchos años, cuando yo era una niña.
Ah, sí, pero hace muchos años. And a lot of times when people say hace muchos años, they would do one of these with their hands. So what does that mean? Sí, ¿qué quiere decir? Hace muchos años, pero cuando yo era niña.
It was many years ago
It was many years ago when
when I was a little girl.
I was a little kid. Sí.
No recuerdo mucho. Me
And she switches into present. I don't
Remember much.
remember much about that.
encantaría volver a ir.
Me encantaría volver a ir. Oh, and that's a little bit special of the volver a ir. So me encantaría. This is a conditional.
I would love
It's-
to return. I would love to go back there or return there or.
I would love to go back again. I would love to go again. Volver a ir makes it again. Volver a is a special construction in Spanish. Volver a, and I add an infinitive, and whatever that infinitive is the thing you'd like to do again. Okay.
Stop. Revolver, that's returning things. Volver is yourself, is you yourself. Is that the difference?
But volver is just to return, go back to a place, come back to a place.
But when you return something, is that revolver?
Oh no, devolver. Devolver is when you return a thing, like a book to the
Okay,
library.
Devolver.
Devolver, or you give money back, you borrowed a buck from your buddy and you give him the buck back.
Okay.
That's devolver. Devolver. Volver a is to do again. So, but the one thing I want to point out is me encantaría, I would love. We generally don't use me encantaría with a thing. So, me encantaría una cerveza. I would love a beer. No. Even though it does mean I would love. We pair up I would love with me encantaría, I would love. We pair it up with an action always. So you never walk into a restaurant and like we say, oh, if encantaría means would love, I can use it to order stuff. Me encantaría una cerveza. Sounds a little odd to them. Me encantaría tomar una cerveza. I would love to have a beer. That works because I'm pairing up me encantaría with an action, beber or tomar. Me encantaría ir. I would love to go. Me encantaría verte. I would love to see you. We pair up me encantaría with an activity, with an infinitive, always, just so you know. That's the natural flow of how we use that. So, me encantaría volver a ir. I would love to go again. We're just making to go again.
Haría volver a ir.
Ay, sí, tiene una historia fascinante. Yo aprendí mucho de la cultura maya.
Yo aprendí, I learned, and aprender often goes into pretérito. Learned is considered something that happens. I found, it's kind of like the I found out, but using a slightly different verb. It's kind of like saber in pretérito, aprendí, I learned. Okay, so aprender in past is going to be more likely to be pretérito. rather than I was learning, aprendía. I mean, it exists, but you are more likely to encounter aprender in pretérito than you are in imperfecto. And now he's going to add a corollary. I learned a lot. And besides that, además.
Y además me divertí mucho caminando en esa zona.
Okay. Me divertí. I had a good time.
He enjoyed himself.
Yeah, I enjoyed myself walking around. Zona just means area. I know it looks like zone. It does mean a zone, but we would say area. En esa zona. Some people even use zona in Mexico, particularly for neighborhood.
¿Caminaste mucho?
Did you?
Did you walk a lot?
Did you walk a lot?
¿Es muy grande?
Is it a big place?
Sí, esta ciudad se fundó hace más de 1500 años.
1500 años. Okay. Se fundó, pretérito. It was founded. Se fundó is a little bit more specialized. Se fundó is like a fake passive voice. It was founded, right? Somebody founded the city. Okay, so this passive, because the city didn't found anything, the city was founded, and we do that with putting a se in front of it. It's one of the uses of se. Okay, se fundó. It was founded. We don't tell who founded it. We know it's the Mayas, but it's being acted upon by being founded. Okay. But it's a finished
Ahora
action.
se han descubierto muchas construcciones y hay mucho que ver.
Okay, so he uses a present perfect. Ahora se han descubierto muchas construcciones, many structures. That's what he means by construcciones, structures. I know it looks like constructions, but we would say structures, meaning actual physical buildings. Or remnants of buildings, like ruins. Many structures have been
Discovered. Oh,
and this is again, se han descubierto, it's kind of a fake passive voice. The structures didn't discover anything, they were discovered. Somebody did the discovering. We're just not talking about who did the discovering, just that, oh, somebody stumbled across this stuff. Se han descubierto. They have been discovered. Hay mucho que ver. He flips into present. There's a lot to
sí,
see.
sí.
Que ver.
Wow. Recuerdo que hay una pirámide muy grande con muchos escalones.
And she flips into present because she's saying, oh, what she knows right now.
Mhm.
I remember that hay una pirámide. There's a
Big pyramid with a lot of steps.
There's a very big period with a lot of steps. Escalones are steps, right? Escalar is to climb up, the action. If it's escalones or escalas, they are steps.
Sí, es la pirámide de Kukulcán.
Kukulcán is a word from Mayan, right? Kukulcán is the name of the pyramid.
Sí.
También le llaman la pirámide del castillo o el castillo.
They also call it, the people who were around there, right? Le llaman, they call it.
Esta pirámide tiene 4 lados.
This pyramid has
4 sides.
4 sides, not 3, right?
Y en la parte de arriba se encuentra un templo en forma rectangular.
Bien, okay. Y en la parte de arriba, and in the
On the top
part,
You'll
on the upper
find-
part, on the top part, se encuentra, oh, it's a passive again.
You'll find a temple, rectangular in form.
Yeah, so
Rectangular
we
shape.
could, right, so we could phrase that as you'll find, or one finds, or a temple is found, right? You find a temple, not you, not meaning you, the person you, but any old you, right? Yeah, this se encuentra is again, kind of a fake passive, right? Yeah, any
Or
old
he could say
person that-
I. I
No, oh, you could say, oh, could you
I-
substitute I? Yes.
I.
You could take se encuentra out and stick in hay un templo. You could. That and it would convey the same meaning. Se encuentra makes it a little more specific. It is found. You'd find this if you went there, right? Okay, en forma
yeah.
rectangular, in rectangular
Forma
form.
rectangular. Cada lado tiene 91 escalones.
Bien, ok, el
Oh.
número. Cada lado. Every side has 91 steps.
Sí.
Son muchos.
Look at his face.
Sí, son
Yeah, they're boy, that's a lot. Son muchos, that's a lot of them.
muchos. ¿Sabes cuántas personas vivían ahí?
Okay. Sabes, do you know right now how many people vivían,
Live there.
lived there?
Live
And the idea is definitely used to, because people don't live there anymore. Sí, personas visitan cada año, pero nadie vive. Sí, es un lugar turístico, no tiene casas, no tiene hogares actuales. It does not have current houses right now. Vivían, how many people used to live, right? So, okay.
Ahí.
Bueno, se llega a pensar que pudieron vivir más de 50,000 personas en esa ciudad.
Okay, and he's telling how many people.
Wow, son muchas. Oye, ¿y subiste la pirámide?
And she asks what he did. Did you do this activity? She
Did you
makes it a
climb? Did you climb up the pyramid?
Did you go up? Yeah. Did you go up? Did you climb up the
¿Y
pyramid?
subiste la pirámide?
No, no la subí porque
No, no la subí. And he answers for yo because she asked as a tú question. No la subí. I didn't go up. See? Está prohibido. It's
está
forbidden.
prohibido, pero hace algunos años podía subir.
Hace algunos años, some years ago, podías,
You were able to climb.
you were able to go up.
And
you were able to,
recently somebody did.
Oh,
and I think they were dragged off. See?
They were attacked by the rest of the people.
Yeah. So I will tell you, I know, just because when I was a kid as a student, I do remember they used to tell you, oh, you can walk up, and you would see videos of people who literally would climb up, and they were actually kind of great big slabby steps. I mean, it was like, it was climbing. It was not just like going up regular steps, because they were great big, they were great big steps. So it was physically a challenging thing to do if you were not in great shape. And so people used to take videos, home videos of themselves doing that, right? But thousands of people every year, too much damage. Okay, so they cut that out. Okay.
Pero dejaron de subir personas para cuidarlas.
Dejaron de subir. Oh, God, that one's a little bit, okay. Dejaron, they stopped. They stopped letting, and dejar has two meanings here. The first dejaron, they stopped. They stopped allowing. Dejar can also mean to allow. Dejar de means to allow. They stopped allowing people to go up. Dejaron de subir personas para cuidarlas. They stopped letting people go up in order to cuidarlas.
Save, protect,
Yeah, save, take care of them, meaning
care.
taking care, preserving. Yeah. Preserving las ruinas. There were too many people were damaging.
Las-
Oh, sí, tienen
Structures.
razón. Hay
Tienes razón, they're right.
muchísimas personas que visitan Chichén Itzá cada año.
Okay, yeah, there are a lot of people who visit, and she flipped into present. Oh, there are a lot of people who visit. Yeah, it makes sense that they wouldn't let them go up.
Sí, son más de 2 millones de personas las que se
Wow.
esperan que visiten este año Chichén Itzá.
Ah, bien. It'll be more than 2 million people. They expect, se esperan, they expect that 2 million people will visit Chichén Itzá this year. And the visiten is not visitan. This year is not over. This year is not done. So we flip that visiten into subjunctive because the year is not over, but they expect it'll be that many people that might visit. Yeah, visiten really means might visit, will probably visit, but we don't know. They haven't visited yet, in fact, but we think that's going to be the amount. And that's why visiten flips into what they call subjuntivos. Okay.
Son muchísimas. Bueno, y platícame, ¿hay más construcciones?
Are there more structures? Are there more actual physical buildings?
Sí, hay un cenote natural ahí mismo en Chichén Itzá. Tiene unas paredes muy profundas que son de rocas y en el fondo hasta abajo hay mucha agua.
Oh, it's probably something called a cenote. Cenote. I wonder if I can find you a picture of a cenote. Vamos a ver un momentito. But you know something about cenote. Cenote is something, it's got what?
Water. Is it a waterfall?
It involves water. Sí. Un cenote. Sí. Okay. A ver. I'll show you what a cenote is. It's easier to show you than to. Ooh.
Oh,
Cenote. Es un cenote. And sometimes this is what winds up happening with a cenote. Sometimes they build stairs inside of them. People go off swimming in them. It's like I don't really know what you would call this in English. It's kind of a sinkhole kind of thing where there's like it's like a well. It goes down, you know.
they throw
all
the
rock.
maidens in there. They got the women's bodies at the bottom.
No, I think there are some people who, in some areas, there are some areas where they allow you to go like scuba diving in some of those, but it depends on the area. So that's a cenote. And I'm not sure if we have an English phrase for that. That's a really good English translation for cenote, but that's what it looks like. But he tells you profundas, they go way down. Son de rocas, it's all, yeah. En el fondo, hasta abajo, hay mucha agua. Way down at the bottom, there's a lot of water. So he tells you what a cenote is. And I don't really have a good English word for cenote.
Sí, los cenotes son hermosos y naturales. Son pozos, ¿no?
And pozos means a well. Yeah, I guess but you know, I wouldn't look at that picture and say it's a well, but it's got a lot of rock. It goes straight down and there's water at the bottom. Well, yeah, pozo, it's a well, I guess. It's a natural well.
Sí, tienes razón. Son formaciones naturales que son parte de un río subterráneo.
And it gives you more of an explanation of what a cenote is. They are natural formations that are part of a
Underground river.
an underground river. And some of those do go for several miles underwater. And I think you have to get a license or a permit of some sort to go in there because, a lot of them you do have to have scuba or even maybe, breathing, like a water air tank equipment in some of those, because they go, I think, for miles underwater in some of them.
Subterráneo. De hecho, en la península de Yucatán hay muchos cenotes.
So, de hecho just means in fact. That's the way we say in fact, de hecho.
Ay, sí. ¿Y qué más? ¿Hay más construcciones?
Sí, también visitamos el juego de pelotas.
We also visited, and here visitamos as we visited, because he's telling the rest of his trip. El juego de pelotas, the ball game
Ball game.
area. Yes. So he's going to describe an ancient sport that the Mayas used to do.
Oh,
El juego de pelotas era un juego que tenías que pasar la pelota, pero
El juego de pelotas, this ball game, era un juego, and now he flips into description. It was a game, it used to be a game where you had to pass the ball
pass the ball.
around, but he's
Yeah.
going to tell how, using what parts of your body. Pero
solamente podías usar los hombros,
but you could only use los hombros,
Shoulders.
see? Next he's going to point to this.
Hips.
la cadera y los codos.
Los codos. Okay.
Hay
Las-
un juego de pelotas en Casa Grande.
De verdad.
Sí,
Entonces era un juego muy, muy común, quizás en todo el sur en la parte del sur de las Américas aquí. Ok.
qué difícil, ¿no?
Ujú, sí, muy complicado. También visitamos otro templo que era el Templo de los Guerreros, muy hermoso.
Bien. We also visit a temple, Guerreros is warriors, the warrior temple.
Pero mi favorito fue el observatorio.
Mi favorito fue el observatorio. My favorite thing was, and that's, again, he's just recounting of all the things I saw. This was my favorite. And he's not really talking about it as a description yet, just which was your favorite thing? Oh, this one thing was my favorite, and fue is okay for that.
¿El
Instead of era.
observatorio? Sí, yo no lo conozco.
El observatorio era una construcción circular.
And now he's going into strictly description, so he's going to flip into imperfecto.
Okay.
En la parte superior tenía unas ventanas.
In the parte superior, we would say upper part. Yeah, superior means this direction, right? So superior. It had windows, some windows.
En donde los mayas podían ver las estrellas.
And now some windows in which the Mayans could see the stars. Podían ver las estrellas. Okay.
Veían los solsticios, los
So they used to look at the solstices,
equinoccios, la ubicación de
equinoxes,
Venus y muchas estrellas.
and a location of Venus and lots of stars. So he's talking about the astronomy work that was done, the astronomy observations that were
Es
done.
impresionante cómo los mayas construyeron todo eso para conocer más el cielo.
It's impressive how the Mayans built, and so they built, that was done. We're not saying they were building, how they built everything, todo, todo eso, all of that, to knows heavens,
know about,
yeah.
about the sky.
Right,
Tonight,
to
Venus
become
and
familiar with
Jupiter.
the star.
Venus and
Ah.
Jupiter are right next to each other tonight.
Esta noche, y va a
After
llover, and it's
sunset.
gonna rain.
Oh, darn it.
Y va a
Pero-
llover a las 5, a las 6. Ay, quizás no podemos decir. Yeah.
Nublado. Nublado,
Va a estar nublado.
nublado, sí.
Sí, desgraciadamente, unfortunately, desgraciadamente, se dice, it is said, se dice que va a llover esta noche y se
Oh,
dice que va a estar nublado, it's going to be cloudy. ¡Ay! Mala suerte, mala suerte.
Tenían que saber mucho de astronomía y de construcción.
They had to know, and not like really obligation. They had to know a lot about astronomy and construction.
Sí, era una civilización muy avanzada.
So just description era.
Tenían muchos conocimientos en matemáticas y astronomía.
So they had a lot of knowledge about astronomy and math.
Pero también le daban mucha importancia al arte.
So, they gave a lot of importance also to, besides scientific things, al arte, art.
También a la arquitectura y a
Architecture.
muchas cosas más.
Sí, yo no entiendo qué pasó.
I don't understand
What happened?
what happened.
¿Por qué colapsó el sistema político de los mayas siendo
¿Por qué colapsó? You know it's past. Why did the
political system of the Mayans fall apart, collapse?
fall apart, right? Colapsó. And again, we're talking about it happened, it's done, it's over. So pretérito. And siendo means being.
una civilización tan inteligente, avanzada y con tanto conocimiento?
How did it fall apart when they were so knowledgeable, when they were so intelligent, when it was advanced?
Pues sí, nadie sabe lo que pasó realmente.
So nobody knows right now
What really happened?
what really happened, lo que pasó. And there, well, you could say que pasó, but lo que pasó, what really, that which. Nobody knows the thing that happened, okay?
Se dice que pudo haber sido una causa de muchos factores, por
It is said that it could be owing to many factors.
ejemplo, la sequía.
La sequía, drought.
También pudo haber sido parte de una sobrepoblación
It could have been an overpopulation problem
o de guerras internas.
or internal wars. So civil war, really, right?
Realmente nadie sabe lo que pasó.
Really, nobody knows what happened.
Ay, qué triste. Quiero ir otra vez a Chichén Itzá y a otras ruinas. ¿Me acompañas?
Claro que sí, ese puede ser nuestro siguiente viaje. ¿Qué te
Oh, that could be our next trip.
parece si lo vamos planeando?
¿Qué te parece? What do you think about planning? ¿Qué te parece? How does it seem to you? When people ask what your opinion is, and they, what do you think about doing this? What do you think about doing that? It's almost, well, not always, but it's often framed as this chunk of words. ¿Qué te parece si? ¿Qué te parece si? How does it seem to you if, and then they propose what you want to do. ¿Qué te parece si lo vamos planeando? What do you think about us going off and planning that? Right? Planning
Vamos
another
planeando.
trip.
Sí, por favor.
Muy bien.
A ver, los siguientes vuelos.
The next flights.
Si te gustó,
And they leave it up there. And I'll give you the link so you can listen to that again. Vale la pena. It is worth it. It is a fun little fun little story, but it had some more complicated structures in it than what we sometimes have. Okay, a ver. Pam, 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 pam. ¿Dónde están mis apuntes? Okay. Vale, muy bien.
Thanks for going over that with us. That was good.
Yeah, now, the one you're gonna, the new thing you'll have for listening will be easy to do on your own because she's gonna do it super, super slowly, much more slowly than they did. Okay, and it's a sort of a whimsical, it's one of the whimsical Andrea stories. Y para tarea for your listening thing, you're gonna have a story largely in the past. My aunt won the lottery. Y lo que pasó, ella va a contarles, she's going to tell you, and it's contar because it's a long story. Ella va a contarles, she's going to tell you guys, va a contarles lo que pasó con su tía, lo que pasó a su tía después de ganar la lotería. Deben saber, la lotería en la cultura hispana es muy importante. This whole lotto thing is a way bigger deal. And it's big deal in Spain, but there it's a big deal at Christmas time. In Spain, it's kind of more, I mean, people do lottery a lot, but the big one that like everybody does in Spain is always about 23rd, 22nd, 23rd of December, around there. It's right before Christmas time, always. But La Loteria does not have a specific date like that in Latin America, but a lot of people do that lotto thing. Wow, they are, I think, a much more freakish about following lotto than we are. Okay, bien. Adelante. And we'll give you, even though Frida has died in her last video, we'll give you another video that's going to be more about how she has become popular in culture. And I haven't previewed that more to see if it's strictly more.
She was young.
She was very young. She had a lot of complications, you know, when your body has gone through polio and a major accident and multiple surgeries and multiple miscarriages. That's just hard on the body. And yeah, she was very young. Okay. Pero
When did she start becoming more well-known in the States? She was very well-known in Mexico, but it seems only recently have we discovered her.
I believe they're going to get into that in the next series video. That's going to be part of that. And I have to tell you, I mean, it's kind of like always been a thing from the time I was a kid. So
I'm from the Midwest, and I just never really came in contact with her until maybe 10, 15 years ago, somewhere in there.
I remember even when I was a teenager learning Spanish, that was always a big deal, Frida Kahlo, but I think it has accelerated in the last 30 years, even more. Which is kind of surprising in a way, because Diego Rivera during her lifetime was really like, he was the big name. I mean, he was one of about 3 big muralists they were big men on campus. They were important guys in the art world. They were taken seriously by everybody. They were all 3 of them very controversial muralists, but he was one of the big 3, or maybe there were 4, but you know, prominent, acclaimed. Everybody knew who he was. She was kind of a side note, but getting more popular. And I gotta say, in the last few years, it's like he's almost now the sideshow now. And when kids it's interesting seeing when my daughter went through Spanish classes and even through university, Frida is a much bigger deal now than Diego Rivera. Diego Rivera gets covered in, and of course she also did the art thing. So it's kind of exploded, and the video is going to cover that.
Okay.
It's really, really exploded. I even have a Frida Kahlo t-shirt from the exhibit. It's although with teenagers, they kind of get into the uniceja, the one eyebrow thing. It's like, that's not the most important thing about Frida Kahlo, that she had one continuous eyebrow. Not kids. But, kids get into the big physical features. Okay. Yeah. Let's see what ideas you've got. Mixing up past tense ideas. Si hablamos de una boda. Hey, if we're talking about, let's talk about some ideas you maybe had time to ponder and think about. ¿Cómo podemos hablar de esta situación? How could we talk about this situation or these two pictures? They're very definitely related.
I'll try one. En la boda, la comida era muy rico.
Bien, sí. En la boda, at the wedding, right? That's how we say at in this situation, because we're talking about something that happened in a place. En la boda, la comida era muy, can't get my fingers on the right keys. Muy rica.
Sí.
Muy rica. And you might hear that as estaba rica. You know what? People will flip between those two. It's not a big deal. The estaba rica would be a little bit more like it tasted very yummy versus era rica. It was delicious. Not a big difference. So either one works there. Okay. Vale. ¿Qué más?
I'm not sure about the order, but here it is. Durante de la recepción, la pareja le preguntó por las comidas a la camarera.
Okay. Durante la recepción,
La pareja
the couple,
le preguntó.
okay. Now, did they ask about the food, or did they
asked
for a portion?
For more food, see.
Okay.
So they asked.
So es buena pregunta. Now, if they asked for more food because they wanted more put on the plate,
Sí.
yeah,
Sí.
then we're going to want this. Le pidieron. Now this is an interesting thing, because when we ask for, there are two verbs that mean to ask, but they're used in different contexts. So we use pedir when you ask for, meaning you want to receive something. Yeah. We use preguntar when you're asking information.
Okay.
So if your idea was they asked, what's that? They wanted to know, what was that dish, right? Then it would be, le preguntaron sobre varios platos. They asked about various dishes because they weren't sure if they wanted to try that versus that one. They were asking for information about the dishes. What is that thing? What is that food? But if they ask for more food, le pidieron más comida.
Would it not be, but it would be la pareja pidió.
Perdón, pidió. I'm looking at the two of them.
And then do you add a la camarera because they're asking of the
A la
wait-
camarera, sí. A la mesera, a la camarera. Because both those words are used for somebody who's waiting on a table, right? A la mesera, a la camarera, más comida, sí. But if they ask for, meaning they want more served to them, then it's pedir. Es buen punto. That is a really important point. Okay. And pedir and preguntar is, those can be two verbs that are a little bit hard to keep straight, kind of like the situation with saber and conocer. Yeah, two verbs or ser, not as complicated as ser estar, for sure. Okay. Pero, buena idea. Okay, ¿qué más?
La gente tenía un buen tiempo en la boda y ellos cantaban.
Okay, la gente, the people had a good time?
They were having a good time. Tenía.
Okay. But we can't use tener to say have a good time. So let's cut that little section out, throw it away, and we're going to think about ¿cómo se dice? There are a couple ways we can, actually about 3 ways we might say that. And you're right, imperfecto is fine. Imperfecto is perfectly okay. So your tense choice was good, but we can't say tener buen tiempo, have a good time. We have to substitute a whole different kind of verb in. And it could be, let me give you a couple of choices. It could be divertirse. It could be a form of disfrutar if you enjoyed a particular thing. Like they enjoyed the food. Yeah. But just have a good time is divertirse, a better
Divertir,
choice.
okay.
Yeah. Right. Disfrutar is often used with de, disfrutar. So, disfrutaba de toda la comida deliciosa, enjoyed all the good food. Then you can use disfrutar. But divertirse is just in a very general way, had a good time, right? Divertirse. And sometimes, pasarlo bien, had a good time. But that one is usually going to be more preterite, that particular verb, unless you really, really mean they were having a good time. Okay, yeah, you could. So let's choose the divertirse. La gente, and we're going to make it a singular.
Say.
Sí.
Divertía.
Yeah.
La gente se divertía. The people were having a good time. Now, you could also say, la
And you
gente.
said buen tiempo, just like our little example at the beginning. Instead of
Ye-
bueno tiempo, you said.
Oh,
buen
yeah, buen tiempo, yeah.
tiempo.
But tener buen tiempo can never be used in Spanish to say have a good time.
Sí.
Even though literally you would think that would be logical. I mean, it's logical from an English perspective why you would choose that. But it is not a combination of words that can be used in Spanish.
Even
People
with
would be-
say divertirse.
Yeah, even though like in our English minds, that's a logical choice. It makes no sense whatsoever. It sounds very, very
Okay.
odd to a Spanish speaker to hear that. Very odd, because they've got special verbs that do that. And so it would make no, okay. Tener buen tiempo is like a religious thing that you want to throw into the trash and shred it and mash it with your feet and throw it away forever and burn it when you're done with that. Because it's a combination of words they just never use. I can't tell you why. I mean, to the English mind, it makes total sense.
I
But
put
to
a big
theirs-
X through it.
Yeah, but to theirs, it makes absolutely no sense. So here what I want to show you on our share screen is either one of these tenses might make sense depending on your perspective. La gente se divertía is fabulous. The people were having a good time. Bien. La gente se divirtió mucho. People had a good time. If your meaning is more of, well, that's over and done. But if you're like reliving it, if you're reliving it, you're putting yourself back and saying, oh, I remember being there and this is what it looked like. Everybody was whooping it up. Then imperfecto is great. So they convey two different feelings. The feeling is se divertía. They were having a good time. I'm in the midst of it. I'm remembering what it felt like, right? I'm in the middle of the action again in my mind. But se divirtió, I am putting it to bed. Oh, it's done and over. They enjoyed themselves. Yeah. So either one is okay, but they convey different feelings. This is more of a live, oh, I'm remembering what it was like. And this is more like, oh, well, over and done. They had a nice time. They're home now. They had a good time. That kind of feel. Bien? Jan, is there anything in it besides that you want to add on?
Y ellos cantaban.
Y cantaban. Y cantaban, and they sang.
Cantaban. Sí, sí.
Y cantaban, and they were singing. Y cantaban, perfecto. O la gente cantaba, ¿sí? La gente cantaba. Sí. Y ellos cantaban. Or you could say it as y todos cantaban, and everybody was singing. Bien, excelente, excelente. Ok, bueno, hay otras ideas. Y si cantaban es fantástico. Cantaban is a great thing because that's exactly what they're doing in La Potosí.
I have one. This is,
Okay.
we're on the second one, correct?
Sí,
Okay.
sí.
Okay. Los novios cantaban muy fuerte y después de muchas bebidas.
Sí, los novios, the bride and groom, los novios cantaban
Muy fuerte.
muy fuerte. ¡Ah! Muy fuerte, very loudly. Fuerte is often used for loud. Here's another phrase that's often used for loud. But it's not quite as strong a connotation. Well, fuerte is strong. En voz alta. En voz alta means loud too. There are two different ways to say loud, but fuerte is, yeah, right? And en voz alta, aloud, which might not. En voz alta can just mean aloud, which might not mean loud. Wow, that's confusing in English, isn't it, right? Read aloud doesn't mean you're screaming at the top of your lungs, does it? Aloud. And en voz alta could be just aloud. So let's keep it as fuerte because I like that way better because that gives us the feel of what you see in the picture. Los novios cantaban muy fuerte después de muchas bebidas. After a lot of drinks. Eso es. Bien. Perfecto. Okay. Me gusta mucho. I like that one a lot. Okay. And I even like this one a lot because even though we had a mistake with this, we're trying to imprint on you to throw away tener buen tiempo forever. And sometimes you have to just, it's a hard thing to push against with your English brain. It really is. Okay. Otra foto, another photo. Bien, sí. Wait, did we do this one last week?
No.
No, okay, bien. A ver.
Él compró muchas verduras en el mercado.
Sí, tomó.
El primer día, almuerzos.
Muchas bebidas en el mercado.
Now you wrote tomó. I was thinking bought, compró.
Oh, compró, perdón. Compró. En el mercado, compró Compró muchas bebidas, muchas cosas. Compró. M, ¿dónde está mi M? Ok, compró muchas bebidas, muchas cosas, mucha comida,
Muchas
Sí.
verduras.
verduras en el mercado, ¿sí? En un mercado al aire libre, It's what kind of market? It's
Open air.
open air, outdoor, an outdoor market. See, outdoor is al aire libre because it's in the open air, in the free air. Excelente. Compró muchas verduras, mucha comida, muchas bebidas, muchísimas cosas. Vale, fantástico. Ok.
Una mujer miró las verduras y decidió no comprar.
Una mujer
Miró,
vio,
not
Oh.
miró, miró
vio o miró, no importa mucho, right? Looked at or saw, no importa.
las verduras
Las verduras
y decidió no comprar.
y decidió no comprar nada. O no comprarlas. Hay dos posibilidades. Pero decidió es muy importante. Decidió, she decided. Decidir exists in both imperfect conjugations and pretérito. You are more likely to hear it in pretérito.
Sí.
Because when somebody decided, that happened pretty fast. Yeah. It's not like the mental process of, did you know? I don't know when you knew, when you started knowing, did you finish knowing? No, when did you know? But when you decided, a decision is something that's done and then over. Yeah. So unless we really specifically mean was deciding, decided is more likely to use pretérito. No comprarlas, not to buy them. And we probably won't leave it dangling as no comprar, not to buy.
Okay.
We'll probably say it as no comprarlas, not buy them, or no comprar nada, not to buy
Anything. Okay.
anything at all. Sí, eso es. Okay. Pero, buena idea. Really good idea. And you know, the no comprar is actually kind of an MBD and no big deal. Somebody would still understand what you meant totally. Okay, bien. ¿Cómo se dice, por ejemplo, there was a fair?
Hay un,
Hay es ahora, that's now.
había?
It could be había, but is it, okay. It could be había if it was something that happened routinely. Some of these fairs are like weekly, aren't they?
Sí.
Yeah.
Sí.
If it was a one-time thing,
Hizo?
sometimes a fair is considered an event.
Oh, then be hubo.
Then it would be hubo. Entonces, depende. Hubo una feria. Hubo una feria would mean there was a fair, meaning, oh, it was an event that took place. Hubo is not used as hubo very often. Not a lot. Hubo is only really used with events, but sometimes, you know, you could be thinking of a fair as it was a one-time thing set up. It happened like a boda, or like even an accident or a fire, you know, they're events. So there might be that, but you know, había una feria, if we're describing, is more, you know, if we're looking at the scene and just describing it, había is natural. Hubo would be more talking about an event that was then over that had an end. So there, you're kind of conveying a different idea. Here again, you know, this whole thing of imperfecto, it's live at the time, what I was looking at. And here it's like, oh, well, that happened yesterday and now it's done. Yeah, that kind of thing. Okay, muy bien. Okay, I would never use haber with things like there were trees. I can't use hubo with trees. Trees are not events, yeah? Hubo mucha gente. I can't say there were a lot of people with hubo because people are not events. But feria, you might interpret as an event, or you might make it like live at the time, how I was experiencing with había una feria. Yeah. Fui al parque, había una feria. Wow, I went to the park and there was a fair. So, you know, like narrating live what it looked like at the time. Okay. Bueno. Esta foto de las mujeres y la lluvia.
Las mujeres traían permanecer seca.
El verbo, your verb, las mujeres.
Permanecer seca.
Oh, stay dry?
Yeah.
Stay dry.
I
Oh,
don't know if that's
okay.
the correct verb for it, or if you would
That
use
probably
quedar.
won't. Oh, let's think. Let's go and let's go to the very easiest thing. Estaban secas. They were dry. Let's just go to the very core. We can use estar, but we're describing what their condition was. Yeah. So description, we're going to keep it imperfecto.
Okay.
Estaban secas porque usaban paraguas.
Oh.
Because they were using
Umbrellas.
umbrellas.
From Monday's discussion with para and por, can I ask if we could use las mujeres usaban paraguas para estaban secas, or in order?
Okay. Las mujeres usaban, were using, sí, paraguas, umbrellas, para and here we want a verb, para estar. Paraguagua, wow, how did I get that? My fingers are, I clearly have not had enough caffeine today. Paraguas, paraguaguaguaguas, para estar secas. Para, I would use in the sense, quedarse secas.
Oh.
To, I'm missing my Quedarse secas, to stay dry. Permanecer means to stay when, ¿cómo explicar esto? Por ejemplo, okay, estoy caminando con mi perrito. I'm walking with my doggy, yeah? Estoy caminando con mi perrito. Y mientras yo entro, o mientras en el pasado, mientras yo entré en la tienda, o cuando yo entré, mejor, cuando yo entré en la tienda, el perrito permanecía afuera. The doggy stayed outside.
Mhm.
Permanecer is to stay in a place. but not like a hotel staying in a place. The doggy stayed behind, see? El perrito permanecía fuera de la tienda. The doggy stayed outside the store. See? Mejor? See? But them staying dry, I think the most natural will be a quedarse, which is one we haven't covered all that much. But they stayed dry. Okay. Estar works too. Estar secas. But we need an infinitive after this because para here, para is still a preposition, so we can't conjugate that verb estar after it. Does that make sense, Marcos?
Yeah,
See, okay, bien. Okay, por ejemplo, I want to give you an example. ¿Cómo se dice? How would we say the women ran because it was raining? Ellas, they ran.
Corren,
Coreaba.
corren. Ellos
We need to do something with correr.
corren,
Ellas,
corren.
corren means right now.
Oh.
They ran.
Corran,
Korean,
Korean,
Corren.
Korean.
Korean.
Corrieron.
Oh,
Oh,
Ella,
Korean.
okay, corrieron, they ran. ¿Por qué? Because it was raining.
Mm.
I got to do something different. It was raining before they ran. It was raining while they ran. It was still raining after they ran.
Estaba lloviendo.
Estaba lloviendo. Or I
Or-
could alternately say llovía.
Yeah.
Either one of those works. Porque llovía or porque estaba lloviendo. Either one.
or Marilyn, how about porque empezó a llover?
Ah, eso sí. Sí, me gusta mucho. I like that one a lot. Okay. If I shift the emphasis, is really the idea depends on what you, if you want to emphasize instead of it was raining, that it started to rain, we're putting the emphasis on it started to rain, then I can plug in a different verb altogether. Ellas corrieron porque empezó a llover, because it started to rain. And now, yeah, they ran because it started, and it started with rain. If I'm just describing it was raining, that's imperfecto. I'm looking at the scene and just thinking about constant rain. But if I'm talking about it as the beginning of the event, now I've got to shift it into pretérito. Empezó a llover. It started to rain. Sí, es fantástico. That is really good. Excelente. Muy bien. La semana que viene, next week, would you, actually, I would like to propose something. I would like to propose that everybody come in with a little plan of, tell a little something of what happened, and, you know, not a term paper. Tell me what happened in the, you know, tell me what happened on a particular day, but mix your tenses. So tell me what happened on your, even if it was boring events, a lot of my days are boring events, what I have to do around the house. Yeah. It's not particularly fun scrubbing that toilet. So, you know, doesn't have to be earth-shattering events. But talk about, actually, you can do a number of things. Talk about what happened on a particular day, or on a particular morning or afternoon or evening. Or you could kind of narrate, split it into, hey, in the last 5 days, here's what I did on separate days. lo que sea, whatever you want to go with it, however you want to go with that, go with it. See, narrate something about a day, an afternoon, the week, lo que sea, whatever it might be, but something in a typical week, not like not like, hey, we took a trip to, it doesn't have to be that involved, right? Bien. Would you like, and we have to finish up our beach pictures as well. We didn't get to that, so we'll get to that. Do you want to do some impromptu pictures as well, or do you want plan it out pictures? Vote. Plan it out.
I kind of like to plan it out because for me at least, it gives me a chance to try to think through what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and actually, okay, good. So I'll add on another slide or two, probably. Okay, but you're definitely good.
What does everyone else think about that?
See?
I like being able to look up words in
Me
advance
too.
because sometimes I struggle with the best way to express an idea.
Yeah, and you know,
And give-
I'm going to give you a cue on that. When you look up a word, here's an important thing to think about. When you run into something like that idea of staying dry, and you think permanecer, go into, I'll show you the site, because this will be more helpful if I show you why this will be helpful. It will be helpful if I show you why, yeah. And I'm going to pull up. Okay. Yes. Your example was like right on target. Let's say you're debating. You're thinking, well, permanecer might work. Go to wordreference.com and look at the examples they give using the word in context. Oops. And let me make this bigger because it's really chiquitito. When you look at the examples, you'll see whether or not it makes sense in the context you mean. Because look, here is this great big fat description. Oh, stay. That must be it. But let's look at the context it's using. El teatro, and they used a future. Permanecerá cerrado. The theater will stay closed. That doesn't sound very close to stay dry, does it? It will remain closed. Permanecer is more with the idea of remain, or this idea of stay in a place, remain in a place, like my doggy remaining outside. Voy a permanecer en Francia hasta fin del año. I'm going to remain in France or stay in France, kind of like quedarse, in terms of staying, lodging, stay, lodging. Yeah, a hotel stay, an Airbnb stay. Voy a permanecer en Francia hasta fin del año, till the end of the year. And when you look at those two, stay dry we don't have a context that really gives us that feel. So when you look up a word, you may rethink, it might not have the right feel for talking about staying in a state of wet, dry, cold. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Bien. Word reference is really one of your best buddies for seeing examples of here's how somebody used it in a real sentence. And if it doesn't look like it's going down the path you want, maybe you want to rethink that word choice. Okay. Bien. How Frida became a big deal. New video. Okay. Or why. and And, oh, Loteria, a nice love story in the past. That is quite cute. Okay. And it will give you a chuckle, as many of her stories do. Okay, todo bien, all good?
Marilyn, how many sentences do you want us to do for just whatever?
4, 3, 4, 3, 4. Yeah, sí.
Gracias, gracias.
Yeah, see. The Great American Novel, not so much. I don't have enough interesting events in my life to write the Great American Novel yet, but so with just daily activities. So, okay. Bien. Okay, and remember, registration's ongoing. If you want to get this going as a formal class, sign up for the Wednesday morning. And you know what? If you want to